Recorded rehearsal number 3. Near final timing and near final script edits, memorizing and dramatizing. Memorizing next. Yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm JD, not John. There are only two people who have ever dared or insisted on calling me John, and neither is in this room. Even my mom, when we she was angry, started my full legal name with JD. It was JD, John, David, Leza, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to list all the names she called me. You'll think of a few yourselves as I share my humorous tale of traumatic childhood head and brain injuries and post traumatic shock, TBI, and PTS. I grew up your typical super energetic and oversugared 1970s kid, smothered and overprotected one day, playing unsupervised outside all day and all night the next. Schwinn banana seat bicycles with chopper handlebars, roller skates and skateboards growing up into roller blades, then snow and water skiing and boarding. I have a sister a year and a half older and a sister a year and a half younger than me, and they were both a good bit taller growing up. So, of course, they ended up with bigger, stronger, faster bikes with hand brakes and finger controlled gear shifters and plastic red, white, and blue streamers flying in the wind behind them like the hair on the horses my sister's friends loved imagining and telling me all about. Their bikes were cleaner and less banged up than mine, too. So when we had friends over to ride and race and build elaborate wooden ramps to jump up and over things, my sister's bikes were the big deal. One day we had a bunch of friends over. There were six, eight, maybe 35 or 100 of us. Truly, eight or a dozen kids descending on one house for a few hours was normal in our neighborhood. In fact, the older kids were expected during the summers to take turns congregating us at different houses on different days. Eventually, that house's kids would be called inside to clean and calm down while the rest of our wild bunch got sent off to play at one of the many schools or parks within our quickly expanding territory. We could fit two or three riders racing side by side from our backyard to the front, pushing and kicking each other, hooting and hollering all the way. It was a 25-yard straight sprint from the cherry tree at the back fence along the side and out past the front of the house, where two flights of concrete steps climbed up to the front porch and down to the sidewalk parking strip and street beyond. Sometimes we'd make it a 40-yard race from the apricot tree across the backyard, past the cherry tree, around the corner of the house, and then down the straight side sprint. I watched our thick, moist grass give way gently as the older riders in the first few heats slammed on their brakes, skidding into smooth stops or a big mangled pile of laughing kids and steel bicycles lying in the middle of our front yard, well before the imaginary finish lines disappeared over the lower steps and the 5 foot high concrete bulkhead separating our soft, grassy yard and the driveway and sidewalk below and the street beyond. When it was my turn that day, I missed the brakes. I had one of the biggest bikes and forgot the brakes were on the handlebars. Instead of locking the back wheel into a glamorous skid and sporty stop, my feet spun off the pedals like Fred Flintstone, clawing grass and dirt and frantic spinning futility before time slowed down and my memories disappear like our imaginary finish lines as the bike and I tumbled through the air, up and over and down those six concrete steps onto the sidewalk below and street beyond. We didn't have many bike races in our yard after that. We all became childhood traumatic head and brain injury and post traumatic shock survivors, first responders, and informed friends and family caregivers that day. And then we very quickly started exaggerating and embellishing, mocking my accidents and head and brain injuries over family campfires and holiday cookouts. And that became a healthy way of bringing up and talking about the long lasting and often unseen or forgotten lifetime impacts surviving childhood TBI and PTS can have on families and friends over decades of love, loss, and laughter. I survived a series of traumatic childhood head and brain injuries and a series of sports related concussions. And I very well may have permanent physical scarring or mechanical damage on or inside my brain. Missing and elusive memories and recurring nightmares do sometimes still complicate and confound my life in very specific, well known, and predictable ways. And we laugh hysterically about each and every injury, accident, and trauma whenever it helps. Any one of us remember not only what we are overcoming and living with, but also and especially the joy and encouraging humor we share with ourselves and others. Thanks be to God.